What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Mr. Random, and it's a nice and quiet, beautiful morning here in Miami, Florida. A little bit cold out there, but either way, anyways, before I start rambling like I usually do, in today's video I'm going to show you guys how this little tiny golden roll of tape can make all the difference in the performance of your car. Not like all my installations, it's usually something that everybody can do. Your average person, you don't need any kind of skill or any kind of experience required to do this mod, and it's going to probably take less than 30 minutes depending on how patient you are and how meticulous you are. But before we actually install it, I want to cover what this actual magical roll of tape actually does. Now, this little roll right here costs about $15. You can get it online. I got this on Amazon.com, and this is called Reflectagold. Now, have you guys ever seen those giant satellites that they launch into space? You ever notice how they're wrapped in this gold aluminum foil looking thing? Well, you guys are looking at it. This is literally, it says it right there on the bottom, this is actual space age polymer. This is space grade polymer. It's ultra light. It reflects up to 850 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's self-adhesive. Now, I don't want to confuse you guys with all the space mumbo jumbo, but pretty much if that little piece of tape can endure the extreme heat and reflect the extreme heat of our sun when it's being launched into space, when this is being applied to satellites, it sure as hell can resist the heat from our engine bays. So I actually opened up the hood here so you guys can have an idea exactly what I'm talking about, what that tape does. What we're going to do today is we're going to wrap this part right here of our cold air intake, because if you guys notice, this part right here, which is the part that actually it delivers all the air into our throttle body over there, this part right here is technically the closest to the engine. There's a lot of people that criticize me. They say, oh, you just invented a hot air intake. Remember, this is the do-it-yourself cold air intake that I did the last video on. Well, you need to keep in mind that this piping right here is actually what's closest to the actual engine. So this part right here, it's what's going to become the hottest. So even if you have a heat shield right here, look how far away this intake is from the actual engine, this cone. So what you really want to protect is this piping right here. But just to shut up the haters and the naysayers, you guys remember when I did this video on this custom cold air intake for your Crown Victoria? You guys remember the upper and lower intake boxes that I told you guys to keep? Well, that actually had this bad boy right here. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out just so you guys can see how easy it is. This little funnel right here, this duct, is what was attached to your upper and lower intake box. Well, you put it back where it belongs, into that hole, and it's actually relatively simple to just put back. And what we do is that all that air that comes out from here is directly funneled, and it goes directly into your intake cone right here, so it always constantly has a flow of fresh cold air. And on top of that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it with literal space age aluminum. Now, what the gold wrap is going to do, it's going to seal in our cold air intake piping right here, as you guys can see. And it's not going to allow this plastic part right here to get hot anymore. It's going to reflect off more than 850 degrees Fahrenheit, which is way more than what this engine is going to produce anyways. So in theory, this entire piping right here is going to remain cold the entire time. And now you guys got to remember, the hotter the air goes into your engine, the less horsepower you make. The colder the air, or the colder your air maintains, the more horsepower you gain or you maintain. So that is what we're going to do in today's video. All right, now the installation for this thing is incredibly simple. All you're going to require is your standard flathead screwdriver, and that is just to remove the little metal clips that hold your intake into place. We're just going to unscrew this one right here, and then we're gonna get this top one right there, and then we're gonna remove this vacuum line right here as well. It has a little green tab right there. See, you push it down and you remove it like so. There we go. Just push that to the side somewhere. You know what, we'll just remove the entire assembly. So we'll remove our cone as well, and we'll unclip the sensor for our mass airflow again. And just like last time, all of this stuff is held by the little metal clamps right here. Remove this, our cone, remove our mass airflow sensor right there, and then all that's left is the upper piping. It literally probably took me 15 seconds to remove all of that. You're just gonna give this a little tug, and depending whether or not you've removed this thing ever before, it's gonna be a little bit snug in there, so you're just gonna play with it left and right, and then as you guys can see, it already starts coming off, and there you go. You just removed your intake piping. So that was the easy part, believe it or not. Now the fun part, the hard part begins. We gotta meticulously wrap this with this golden space saving, heat saving tape right here. And actually, I'm so impatient when it comes to these things that I'm actually gonna have my girl do this part, because she's a lot better with arts and crafts and being patient and wrapping things up and all that than I am. So we'll go ahead and have her do it, just so you guys can get an idea of what it's like. Here we go. We're also gonna clean this filter as well. What we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap this entire part. We're gonna leave the stretchy part, we're gonna leave that alone, and we're gonna wrap here as well. Oh, and if you ever have any doubts where your Ford Crown Victoria was made, hey, just look at your intake piping. There you go, made in Canada. All right, guys, just so a little bit of information, it's kind of like applying a decal. It's not like your traditional roll of tape where you just open it and it's already sticky. You got to kind of peel off the back of it, and then you apply it like you would a decal, as you guys can see. I get my kicks and I want to start raging. I want to dance like I'm on the video. I got a fever for violent behavior. I'm sweating bullets like I'm Martin Romeo. Alright guys, now as my girl goes ahead and finishes the mass airflow pipe, just want to show you guys what a badass job she did. I mean, look at all the little nooks and all the little dots and everything else that comes with this intake, man. She did a phenomenal job. And, you know, that's why it's always really important to you know, give your significant others, man, get them into your hobby, man. You never know if they just might like it. My girl has been responsible for a lot of video ideas that I have, so I always got to give her a huge shout out, especially when she helps me out with stuff like this. It also makes me proud knowing that she directly did this, and it's in my car, and that makes it special to me. So if you guys you know, have any significant others out there, man, get them involved in your hobby. You never know what magic might come out of it, man. So now let's go ahead and install this bad boy back on. All right, guys, and installing your piping is pretty much everything that you did, just in reverse. Remember, the vacuum line that we removed goes to the right, and that little tab, that tab aligns with that little square, just like that. So we're gonna go ahead and just literally just fit it back and just push it right back in. And once you feel it's nice and snug, then we grab our vacuum line right here, and we just plug it back in until you hear that snap. And the next step is we install our mass airflow sensor. Remember, it always goes to the left because that is where the connection to that is. We're just gonna plug it snugly back in there, and we're gonna go ahead and tighten up that bracket as well. All right, guys, and the last step is obviously to put back your performance cone, snug it back in there, make sure you tighten it really good, and then we're just gonna clip our little clip here for our mass air flow sensor. There we go. All right, and in case you guys were wondering, there's still plenty of tape left, so if you guys ever want to get this, man, 15 bucks, Amazon.com. Just get yourself the 2x15, and at least if it's for your Crown Victoria, and it's going to be more than enough. You can obviously do this for any car, not just a Crown Victoria, but you know, wanted to hook you guys up. So now your intake is definitely going to remain cool, especially if you add that duct that I told you about, supplying it with cold air directly from the street. And now the heat from the engine will not affect our intake piping. It's going to remain at a cool temperature for the most part. That's the purpose of this tape. Either way, what do you guys think? I think it looks freaking amazing either way. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, it's your boy, Mr. Random. I will catch you guys on the next Crown Victoria video. Take it easy.